If you love history, mystery, and maybe a little bit of romance, then my historical mystery book recommendations are going to be perfect for you. Hi, my name is Jackie. I'm a historical mystery author and a historical mystery reader, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite historical mystery series that I encourage you to read. And this is only the tip of the iceberg here, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments that I should do a part 2. First and foremost, I have to recommend the series that made me a certified historical mystery lover in the first place, and those are going to be the Veronica Speedwell mysteries by Deanna Raybourn. This series starts with A Curious Beginning. I read the first book in this series, I think in 2020 or 2021, and at the time I didn't even realize that historical mystery was an entire subgenre, but after I read this first book, I just couldn't get enough, and I knew that I wanted to read as many historical mysteries as I possibly could. In this series, we're following intrepid lady adventuress Veronica Speedwell in the Victorian times. Veronica is a very independent woman in this patriarchal society, and she studies butterflies. She's traveled to all these different parts of the world. In the very first book in the series, her guardians have recently died, and she receives a visit from a German nobleman who tells her that he knows the truth about her mysterious past and that her life may be in danger. So this German nobleman entrusts her into the care of his friend, a brooding natural historian named Stoker, which will later prove to be the start of an iconic detective partnership. After this German nobleman is murdered, Veronica and Stoker end up teaming up to figure out what happened to him and also the truth about Veronica's past. And throughout the series, the two of them will work together to solve mysteries while also dealing with their growing romantic feelings for one another. I absolutely love a slow burn romance that develops over a series, and Veronica and Stoker have one of my favorite book relationships. Stoker might be one of my favorite book boyfriends of all time. I just adore him so much, and I love the relationship between him and Veronica. And it is also really interesting how Raybourn explores some interesting aspects of Victorian society and features several female characters who are looking to carve their own space in this patriarchal world. This is the series that made me a historical mystery lover, so of course it had to come first on my list of recommendations. Secondly, I am going to recommend another series that I have been reading for quite some time, and those are the Charles Lenox mysteries by Charles Finch. Though this is also set in the Victorian era, while the Veronica Speedwell series takes place in the 1880s, this actually takes place earlier in the 1860s. This series follows Charles Lenox, who is a gentleman sleuth operating a private detection business in Victorian era London. He comes from an aristocratic background, being the younger son of a nobleman, and he has now chosen detection as his career. Lenox is very intelligent and he enjoys detection because he likes trying to piece things together and figure out the puzzles as he helps people from varying Victorian social classes. The first book in this series is called A Beautiful Blue Death, and it follows Lenox as he investigates the murder of a servant who worked in the household for one of his friends. A major subplot in this series is the relationship between Lenox and Lady Jane Grey, who is one of his childhood friends. Lenox always kind of had a thing for Lady Jane, though he wouldn't admit it to himself, and she ended up marrying another man, Lord Grey, but is now widowed. The Charles Lenox series is a very long-running series that is still going on. I think there's around something like 13 books now, with another one coming out next year. I have currently read the first 7 in the series, and the reason that I wanted to recommend this series is because I think it is very consistent in terms of quality. A lot of times when I read a series, there are books in the series that I absolutely love and others that just don't quite hit the mark for me. But with the Charles Lenox series, I've read 7 books so far, and every one I felt was good. I don't know if I personally think this series hits the high highs of other series for me, but there's not been a single book so far that I didn't like, and that's more than some other series can say. I also think the Charles Lenox books have a vaguely cozy feeling. They feel warm, they feel familiar. When you pick up one of these books, you know exactly what you're gonna get, and you can count on it. I would also recommend this series if you find the political world interesting, because in later books, Charles does get an interest in Parliament. And so you do see an exploration of some of the social issues that were being addressed in this period in Victorian society. So if you find those topics interesting, then definitely these books will appeal to you. The next series that I want to recommend is probably the one that leans the most cozy mystery on this list, and that's the Phyllida Bright series by Colleen Cambridge. I have read 3 books in this series. I think there's one more that I still have to read, and then another book coming out next year. This series, set in the 1930s, follows Agatha Christie's housekeeper. Murder at Mallowan Hall is the first book in this series. Mallowan Hall is a fictitious country estate that the author created. It is the country residence of Agatha Christie and her second husband, the archaeologist Max Mallowan. While obviously Agatha Christie was a real person and her second husband was actually Max Mallowan, the estate itself and the staff working at it are entirely fictional. Phyllida Bright, the housekeeper, is the main character in this series. And we also have a lot of other recurring characters on the household staff, giving it that sort of Downton Abbey upstairs, downstairs vibe. I think if you, like me, love both Agatha Christie mysteries and a good Downton Abbey episode, then this series is just going to be perfect for you. It's like the perfect mishmash between the two. Phyllida loves reading her mistress's novels. She is the biggest Hercule Poirot fan, and so when strange murders start happening around her, she's going to use her skills that she picked up in detective fiction to investigate the crimes. It's actually kind of crazy because I think in book 3 there's a passing comment that implies only 3 months have passed since the first book, and I'm like, damn, why is this village having like a murder a month all of a sudden? This series is super fun if you're someone who loves Agatha Christie and the Golden Age mysteries but wants to read a more modern series. I mean, modern in the aspect that they're being published now, not that the setting is modern. We still have that quintessential 1930s English country estate setting with the lives of the people upstairs and the people downstairs. But it's just like a really fun series. It's a little bit quirky and definitely references Agatha Christie's mysteries very subtly. So I think you're going to get the most out of it if you like Agatha Christie's books. Just a very fun series, very cute, very cozy, highly recommend. The fourth series that I'm going to recommend is one that I don't think I've seen anybody besides myself talk about on BookTube, and that should change because these books are really good. They're the Dr. Julia Lewis mysteries by Patrice McDonough. There are 2 books in the series so far, starting with Murder by Lamplight, and a third book is going to be coming out next year. If you, like me, loved watching Miss Scarlet and the Duke on PBS, but quit in rage when the Duke was written out of the show, then you need to pick up these books like yesterday. You need them in your life. Trust me, you need them. This is another Victorian era series. It's set in London. I don't remember exactly what decade. I want to say the 1870s, but if I'm mistaken, I'll correct myself on the screen. The 2 main characters of this series are Dr. Julia Lewis and Inspector Richard Tennant. Julia is a female physician in a time period where women in Britain actually could not graduate from medical school. She had to go to study in America to learn medicine and become a doctor. She's now come back to London to work with her grandfather in his practice, and she's really determined to prove herself as a good doctor and just an equal to all these men in this patriarchal world. In the first book, she's called to a crime scene because Inspector Richard Tennant at Scotland Yard does not realize that there are actually 2 Dr. Lewises, so when he summons Dr. Lewis, Julia's grandfather, he actually gets Julia, the granddaughter, instead. Now, Inspector Tennant is a Crimean War veteran. He is suffering from what we would now call PTSD, and when he first meets Julia, he is, let's say, extremely skeptical about a female doctor since it is so out of the norm for their society, and the work that he is doing as a detective investigating murders is very gruesome. But as the 2 of them end up working together on these investigations, they do start to grow closer. Inspector Tennant begins to respect Dr. Lewis's abilities, and yes, The two of them may or may not be developing a potential romantic attraction. It's got another slow burn romance, guys. What can I say? I love a slow burn romance, and this series really does fill the Miss Scarlet and the Duke shaped hole in my heart. One caveat I do want to give about these books is that they are a little bit gorier than others on the list. I think gory is a strong word, but they are willing to address darker themes and violence a little bit more. I think other historical mysteries on this list try to keep it light, but these books do address pretty hard-hitting issues like sex trafficking, prostitution, graphic murder, homelessness, etc. So if you're someone who really likes to keep things light or is sensitive to reading about pretty violent deaths, then I don't know if these would be the best choice for you, but don't let that scare you off. I think if you can handle a teensy bit of hard-hitting content or gore, then these are a must-read. They are so good, and I'm going to keep shouting about how good they are until they start getting more respect on BookTube, okay? Because they're good. I need more of them. I need Richard and Julia to lock lips like yesterday, because I ship them. I ship them. As a mystery author, one thing that I struggle with when I'm reading mysteries is that frequently I can guess whodunit pretty easily. And reading these books, I did know whodunit both times, but Patrice McDonough really made me work for it. I think these mystery plots are so well constructed. The clues are great. And this is just like the kind of mystery writing that I aspire to, because, like, yes, I was able to guess them, but I had to work for it. She knows what she's doing. She knows all of the mystery writer tricks. And I feel like a lot of people who read these are not going to be able to guess who done it, but in hindsight, they're going to see all the clues they missed. And that, in my opinion, is the ultimate mystery reading experience. One of the two books in this series also has a motive for murder that I found so compelling. I absolutely loved where the author went with that. So, like, please read these books, guys. They're so good, and I want them to keep going on. So go read them. Tell me that you love them. Thank me later. I have one last series that I want to recommend in this video, but once again, let me know in the comment section if you want a part 2, because I can definitely make a part 2. I have more recommendations where these came from. But the last series we're going to talk about today is the A Rip Through Time series by Kelly Armstrong. In this series, Mallory, a modern-day homicide detective, is visiting her dying grandmother in modern-day Edinburgh when she accidentally finds herself transported back in time to Victorian Edinburgh. She has switched bodies with a housemaid named Katrina, and Katrina works for the medical examiner, Dr. Duncan Gray. So Mallory, in Katrina's body, ends up helping him solve murders using her modern-day knowledge of policing and forensics. This is a rare series where I feel like it's actually getting better with each book. So if you read the first book, A Rip Through Time, and you're like, I don't know if I absolutely loved this or it was just okay, I encourage you to at least give the second book a try, because I feel like each book in this series I like even better than the one before, and that doesn't happen all that often. It is a little bit different since the main character is a modern day woman who is transported back into the past, but I do think it is really interesting to see the aspects of Victorian society that are explored here. It's set in Scotland, which is a little bit different from a lot of other historical mystery series, which tend to be set in either London or New York, I feel, most of the time. Not that there's anything wrong with a London or New York setting. I love those. I wrote a book set in London, but I'm just saying, if you kind of want to go to a different place in one of your series, it is interesting to learn more about Scotland. We have books that are set in Edinburgh, we have books that are set in the Highlands, and I find it very interesting. My favorite characters in this series, though, are actually some of the side characters. Duncan Gray has a half-sister named Isla, who is a female chemist. I absolutely love her so much. Duncan and Isla also have a childhood friend, Hugh McCready, who is a detective in the Edinburgh Police Department. I absolutely love him too. I loved the most recent book in this series because we got to learn a lot more about Hugh's backstory. I ship Hugh and Isla so hard. Hyla? I don't know if they have a ship name, but That's my OTP, you guys. I want Hugh and Isla to kiss and get married and be in love forever. I can't get enough of them. I also find Duncan very interesting as a male lead because he's actually an illegitimate child in his family who is mixed race. He is, I believe, half Indian and he doesn't know who his biological mother is. I'm wondering if that's a plot thread that we're going to re explore in later books, maybe find out who Duncan's mom is or was. I hope so. I think that would be really interesting. And to be completely honest with you, in the first book in this series, I wasn't 100% in love with Mallory, our main character, but I feel like her character journey throughout the books has been so interesting to see, and I really have grown to love her more as the series goes on. And now I'm really rooting for her and rooting for her to potentially explore this fledgling connection that she has with Dr. Duncan Gray. If you love the time travel romance of Outlander and want to put it in a Victorian mystery, this is the series for you. You gotta check it out. So, those are my historical mystery book recommendations. Let me know in the comments if you want a part two or what historical mystery series you think I should check out. And make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed. It helps me know what type of content is resonating with my audience. And hey, in case you didn't know, I have a historical mystery that's coming out from Berkeley in 2026. So check out that announcement video right here if you want to learn more about it. I really appreciate you watching this video today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you next time. Goodbye.